Hello everyone, welcome back to my Care Reviews. This is going to be all about Star Wars The Jedi Tales. A little bit late to the party, but let's get into it. So with Star Wars The Jedi Tales, it's basically 6 short mini episodes basically focusing on Count Dooku and Ahsokatano. Episodes are like 12 to 20 minutes, if that, and it's just sort of like little short stories. You've got two aspects of it. You've got Ahsoka's and you've got Count Dooku's. With Count Dooku's, sort of like a threading of like his backstory before you see him like in the Clone Wars and all that kind of stuff. With Ahsoka, you sort of just get like little hints and bits and pieces of like her timeline in itself. So I'm going to say this now. Overall, I did find it fascinating. I did find it enjoyable. For me, I have to say, like Star Wars, like the animated shows, like Clone Wars, by far my favorite animated stuff from Star Wars, Rebels. You've got The Bad Batch. You've got all these good shows and animated stuff that they do a fantastic job with. And with this is no exception too. It's short. Some episodes were like a little bit, nah. But overall, a fun show, and I really do hope they do more of this in the future. We'll get into it. I'll discuss Ahsoka Tano's like plotline because she's basically in episode 1, episode 5 and episode 6, and I gotta be honest with episode 1, my least favorite of it, because you basically show episode 1 of how Ahsoka Tano gets born. You see her as a baby, you see like her family dynamic and how like the backstory of how they found out she was force sensitive by her mother going hunting with her, only for like this lion creature to basically kidnap her, and her saving herself using the force. And that's basically how they find out that she's force sensitive. So I feel like it's more it's a cute story, but I just felt like they could have done so much more with like Ahsoka in terms of like other storylines that they could tell compared to like this one in particular. But when it comes to like the next episode's 5 by far my favorite episode, because you've got Ahsoka doing these training with like the Jedi Council, and then Anakin knowing that these training methods are pretty crap, so he comes up with his own one using Rex and the clones and just like shooting her, using her lightsaber to avoid the shots. And for me, my favorite episode, because I love Anakin and Ahsoka together. In the Clone Wars animated show, they were just so entertaining. Like the clones in itself, Rex and like the clones, just that dynamic with one another was just fantastic to watch. And I really loved when it comes to like Ahsoka, she's written so fantastically from the moment she's introduced to the moment like there's going to be like a TV series about her next year. She's like one of the most well-written characters in Star Wars, and probably like the top 5 characters in Star Wars history. And I love like her interactions with Anakin. I really love like the training montages and that payoff at the end of the episode, because you sort of get like it tied back towards like the finale of the Clone Wars, when Ahsoka has to face all these clones due to Order 66. So it's just a fantastic tie-in and a fantastic way to just see Anakin and Ahsoka once again together because of like the backstory that they have. So for me, by far my favorite episode. And then you've got the final episode, episode 6. You get to see how she joined the rebellion, how she became back into the fight, because you get to see throughout the episode that she sort of like backed away, didn't want anything to do with it. You see Bail Organa like giving her this communicator so that she can interact with him. However, she goes to the village, she like gets discovered that she's a Jedi. One of these guys calls on like the Inquisitors to expose her, and the only disappointing thing for me is like the fight between Ahsoka and like I believe it was the 6th brother was just so quick. Like she sort of just whipped out the lightsaber and just killed him like one shot, no like prolonged fight or like any difficulties for her. So that for me was just like a little bit of a letdown, but I just enjoyed the episode as a whole, and I really liked them showing how she became back into the rebellion fight, how she eventually turned into the codename Fulcrum, like all of that stuff. So I really enjoyed like the Ahsoka Tano part of it. Like I said, she's my top 5 like characters from Star Wars. So it was really fun and overall, but except for episode 1 just felt unnecessary versus 5 and 6. but it was very fun and enjoyable. But for me, what I feel like the biggest standout is you've got Count Dooku, because Count Dooku's storylines, you've got episode 2, 3 and 4, sort of like an arching storyline with him, because when he first gets introduced in episode 2, you see him with like a younger version of Qui-Gon Jinn, and they sort of like visit this planet because the senator's son got kidnapped. You kind of see like his mind being tinkered, the wheels are kind of turning in his head because he sees the corruption, he sees like this planet being so defeated and just being so like neglected. And you sort of like see how the son as well is siding with like his kidnappers versus his father, like the senator. So you sort of like start seeing Dooku's like turning, like Dooku's like using more like methods that the Jedi Council wouldn't sort of approve of, and he's starting to like realize this kind of stuff. So like, yeah, in terms of episode 2, a bit of a slow episode, very enjoyable however. And then you get to like him with Mace Windu in the next episode. He's once again seeing the corruption with the senators, seeing the corruption and seeing like the Jedi Council's methods not aligning with his method. So sort of like these tweaks, these wheels turning more and more with him, similar to like Anakin Skywalker, but with him, he's seeing it firsthand. He's seeing it like all like as he's witnessing it too. And then with episode 2 and 3, they're very enjoyable. You get to see it. A little bit short for me. I wish they expanded it a little bit more, because the episodes I think were like 14 minutes and 16 minutes. So like I wish there was more explanation for that. But then once, my second favorite episode is you get to episode 4, is when you really see Count Dooku's turning to like the dark side. Like this arc, you sort of like sympathize with him, you see why he's turning, because with episode 4 you sort of link it with like the Phantom Menace movie. You see an older version of Qui-Gon Jinn, him trying to explain about his meeting with Darth Maul, and then as the episode progresses, Qui-Gon Jinn dies because of like the events that took place in Phantom Menace, and you have to see Dooku's like reaction. You see his turning, he sees the Jedi Council's not listening, he sees the corruption, he sees all of this stuff, the Jedi Order just not going the way he wants it to go. So he goes and turns to like Palpatine, Lord Sidious, and that's where you see him like being manipulated and turning into like the dark side. And you see his like interaction with Yaddle from the Jedi Council, like her trying to like lure him back, trying to like help him understand, and like sort of similar. You sort of see the similarities between like Anakin and Yoda and Obi-Wan and Yaddle with like Dooku, and just that like little fight scene there. Like I really loved this episode. I really loved seeing his arc of how he everything like slowly being absorbed, all the information he's seeing, the wheels turning, and him just becoming the person who he is going to be eventually, where you see it in the Clone Wars animated shows or Clone War movies. I loved what they did with Count Dooku in this one. So for me, overall, fantastic small storylines, fantastic short episodes. Only wish it was a little bit longer, but I loved what they did with that, and I really hope that they are going to be doing more of this, because it's so fun, it's so fantastic. So I overall enjoyed it, and I would recommend it. If you are a Star Wars fans, I think you'll have a fun time with this show. I think you'll really enjoy it. If you're not a huge Star Wars fan, you may not be as interested. It may not be for you, because Count Dooku and ahsokatano, like these small like 12-14 minute episodes, may not intrigue you as much. However, for me, I loved this show. I really enjoyed it. I had a fun time with this show. So I, for me, would recommend it if you are a Star Wars fan like I am. It's really a fun exploration of like the two characters there. But these are my thoughts and these are my opinions of like the show in itself. If you have seen the show, let me know down in the comment section below. If you haven't seen it and you want to see it, let me know your opinions about that. Does it intrigue you? Hit it all down in the comment section below. And if you haven't already, hit the subscribe button, like button, hit that notification bell so that you don't miss out on any future videos. There will be the Black Panther review coming up this weekend, along with like the weekly movie, TV show news coming up as well. Plenty of videos coming out on the channel here. So thank you so much for watching, and thank you so much for listening though. This is YK Reviews. Peace.